My name is Christine Hamill Stewart, and my maiden name was Louth. And Sergeant William Robert Louth is my uncle. He is my father's brother. He was not known by his first name, but he was known as Bob, and Bobby as a child.
Alright, okay. How and when did you learn the history of your uncle and what happened to him?
That's a very difficult question to say, because during and after the Second World War, people didn't tend to speak about anything, their experiences or their losses. The first thing I can remember that there was something wrong was when I used to sing and dance to music, and I was doing this to the RAF march, and my mother stopped me.
Okay.
And I realised then that there was something wrong, and so I later learned about my uncle's death. But I knew as a child, probably from about the age of, I suppose, 7 or 8, that he had died. It wasn't talked about a great deal, but obviously my father was very affected by it. There had originally been a large Louth family, but most of his aunts and uncles had died before the age of 50, and I am actually the last of the line. Now that my uncle has died, and he died without having any children, although he was married. And I realised that my father was affected because he used to look up things. Of course, it was much harder in those days to try and find out about what had happened to my uncle. And then he wrote to the Runnymede the people at the Runnymede Memorial, and he discovered his name there, and they sent him the piece of paper I showed you with his name on it, and the fact that he would be honoured forevermore. And I found out later myself that he's on another memorial in Leicester, and one, I think, at the Halifax factory.
Okay. Well, the next question, what can you tell about Sergeant Louth, about his youth or anything like that, how they grew up together maybe?
I can't tell you a great deal, and the reason for this is that my uncle was married to a lady called Kitty, my Aunt Kitty, and then after the war in 1947 she remarried, and naturally she had most of his possessions and details about him, and my father lost contact with her. It was no longer really a very good idea for him to keep on going and seeing her. Now she's started a new life.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we only have very few things, very few photographs. What I do know is that he had, my father was his only brother. He had no sisters, and their mother died when my uncle would be about 9 or 10. So they grew up. They grew up with their quite elderly father, and I think, and a few housekeepers.
Okay.
I know that he was very musical. My father's family were musical, and that he played several instruments. And his wife actually could hear a tune and immediately go and play it, the melody out on the piano.
Okay. That is a good skill.
Absolute hearing.
He has that as well.
And I presume that from his work in the Air Force as a radio operator, I think that he was connected with radio and electricity, probably electrician or of some sort.
Yeah.
I don't know anymore, I'm afraid.
No, that's okay. Yes. How did the missing of Sergeant Louth sorry. How did the missing of Sergeant Louth affect the family? Well, I know it affected your father very much.
I think you grow up with a sadness of what could have been
Yeah.
if he'd returned home from the war and had a family. I would have had cousins on that side of my family.
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed the fact that he was musical, because I am quite musical myself. I play the piano and a little bit the organ.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
I used to play the violin as well.
Yeah. The thought of what could have been. Yeah.
Yes, I think it's just missing someone from your family. But then it's like so many others who are missing.
Yes. What do you think about the monument being erected?
I'm amazed that you're erecting the monument 75 years after the plane crashed. But I think it's a wonderful thing, because certainly it would be wonderful if my uncle's body were found, but it's wonderful anyway that these airmen are going to be commemorated, and that they are going to stand for all the airmen who were lost flying over Holland in the Second World War.
And what would your father have thought about this project?
My father would have been thrilled, absolutely thrilled about it, because he was always talking about the memorials. And he didn't give me a great deal of information about my uncle, except I think I told you that his hair turned white at one stage, and that he was a band leader. But oh no, he would really have appreciated the fact, and I'm sure he would have come over and seen the monument, and seen its opening.
Well, the bird wants something to say.
Actually, he's quiet all day.
Well, he's just happy for people to be here.
Yeah,
Is there anything you would like to tell that I did not ask, or do you have any other questions yourself? Or?
What do people in general think about this project in Norwegian?
They're excited.
Yeah.
Oh, they are,
Positive.
yes.
Yeah.
Mostly positive. Some people say, well, it's more than 75 years ago. Let it rest.
Like, why bother now?
Why bother? Yeah. But you always have those kind of people. But mostly it's positive. Yes.
Yeah.
Very positive, actually. I've been in the newspaper. It shouldn't actually.
Huh?
I hope really. It's about. I've been looking for bits and pieces of the airplane on the crash site to give to the relatives. Haven't found anything yet, but
Oh yes.
so it's front page news. So so they probably like it. I've been
Is this?
It's me. With my metal detector.
The cows are very interested too.
I'm sure they are.
What is this human doing on our land here?
Oh.
But I found out I was looking on the wrong field.
Yes.
Oh.
I actually didn't find anything.
Oh.
Apart from some rusty nails and some other.
We're going to look on the right field
Yeah,
next. Yeah.
Yeah. I found out I'm free tomorrow as well. I didn't know that a couple of weeks ago, but apparently I have 2 days off, so that's nice. So I will go there tomorrow again with my metal detector and try to find
Yes.
some pieces of metal. And my actual plan is to frame them and send them to all of the families, so that there is a piece of the airplane and the family. I thought it would be nice.
Yes. Yes.
If there's still something there.
What did they do with the actual plane?
They melted it. They melted it down, and it was for the German war effort. The metal was used for bullets, tanks, airplanes, you name it.
Yes. Yeah.
They needed the metal.
Well, of course they would do. Yes, with all the
The British
destruction
did
of the
same,
factories and that. Yes.
because the factories indeed were bombed, and so there wasn't enough resources. So and probably the British did it with the German airplanes. They probably melted them down as well. I don't know. I would, if you need the resources.
I hope that was all right. Was it enough for you?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
I think for the
Yeah, for the.
no, wait. To do like a formal ending or something. Because this little bit you're gonna cut out, of course.
Yeah,
but-
no, I will get to that.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
I'm very glad I'm able to come to
Yes. And of course,
Muidenberg and
thank you from
Muiden.
us for taking the time to come here and share with us your story.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for all the work you're doing
Of
to
course,
find,
yes.
particularly to find my uncle's body.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing after all these years.